Mexico won, Honduras nil. A match that was so hard fought. That first half was terrible. Once again, four first halves in a row that Mexico does not score. But in the second half, it was a completely different story, especially those first 10 minutes coming right from the break. It's like Vasco goes into that dressing room and puts them back into shape, and they come out swinging in the second half. But before we get into every single detail from the Mexico Honduras semifinal clash, make sure you guys subscribe, like, check all the platform links down below. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Charla Football. I'm your host as always, Gerardo, and yes, I'm doing this once again from my couch. I just think the setup looks a little cleaner. The sounds a little better. Anyways, going to the Mexico versus Honduras match. Like I said, it was a hard-fought match. Honduras came out swinging, especially that first half. They did not let Mexico breathe. They did not let any of the players touch the ball. Mexico could not get through anywhere in the midfield. And it's not like they were parking the bus. They were pressing high, but they were just so aggressive when Mexico did have the ball. And even on the ball, Honduras were moving it fast, 2-3 touches max, getting the ball. They didn't really create any threatening opportunities against Malagon. They had a few shots that were off target, but that was mainly off of Mexico's mistakes because of how aggressive they were pressing up high. But once Mexico found their feet, they found a little bit of rhythm, going closer to like the 40th minute. Vasco Aguirre visibly frustrated throughout the first 30, 40 minutes because Mexico could not control the ball, cannot penetrate, cannot create, and then also, how dirty the Hondureños were playing. We saw a lot of yellow cards today in this match, for both teams, and luckily we found out today that even if a player got a red card, it would not transfer over to the World Cup. If not, it would transfer over to the next FIFA window. So players felt a little bit more freely to hit. I guess today everybody wanted to hit each other. The game was extremely intense from the first minute up until the last minute. We saw a few fights, but that's what's part of the game. That's what you get in a semifinal. Honduras were fighting to make history, to make it to a final. I think the last time they had made it to the final was like back in 1991 or something like that. And then for Mexico, obviously trying to go to back-to-back finals, trying to win the Gold Cup back-to-back, and really establish themselves in a good moment, establish themselves as the biggest team in CONCACAF, especially with the USA not in the best moment. USA, who also are already in the final after beating Guatemala, a USA team that were a little shaky, but we won't really get too much into the USA, but we'll definitely save that for a preview into the next video before the final. But yeah, Mexico did what they had to do in the second half. I want to say in the first half really wasn't anything besides maybe a few moments from, I think it was from MORA, who gave the ball out to Mateo. Mateo, who had an iffy game, but Mateo puts a perfect ball to the top of the box where Marcel turns, and maybe should have done a lot better. His shot was a little flojo, but can't really say anything too much. He is not a striker. He's a defensive midfielder. Did what he could in that moment, but definitely that was the best opportunity in the firm. Honestly, both teams in the first half, around the 43rd minute. But then going to the second half, that's when Mexico started to play football. And we saw Mora get on the ball, and he created two big opportunities in the first 5-6 minutes of the game. But going to the 50th minute, Alexis Vega on the half turn gives a good ball into Mora, has a little bit of space to maneuver. He has a defender coming to press him. He takes one touch around the defender, a touch to kind of set his pass into Raul Jimenez, who's running at full speed, has a little bit of space in front of him, but we have to appreciate the ball that Gilberto Mora gives in that moment. A lot of players at 16 years old, maybe they're overhitting it, they're underhitting it, but Mora gives him the perfect pass into his stride for Raul Jimenez to just hit it on the first time, right past Menjivar. Really, the goalkeeper, you can't do anything. Estaba contrapié. There was nothing really Menjivar could do. Raul Jimenez finishing like he should be inside of the box because, oh my God, Lord knows he had at least one opportunity in that first half as well that he should have scored. A header, the cross from Julian Araujo. But doesn't matter. He gets his goal. After that, there was another moment created by Mora himself once again on the left side of the box. He has all the space to go inside of the box. He gives a good ball into Piojo Alvarado, who hits it first time as well, but Menjivar actually makes a good save in this one. Piojo maybe should have done a little better, but from the second half, those were probably the two best opportunities for Mexico. I want to say after like the 60th, 70th minute, Mexico kind of looked tired. I think they weren't pressing as hard or as intensely as they should have been. And then Vasco makes a change that honestly I don't think. Not that I didn't like it. I just think the formation change was a little different. I mean, he went back to a 4-4-2, which we've seen him play in the beginning of the Gold Cup. But in the past few matches, it's been 4-3-3, very standard, very flexible formation. But when he goes to 4-4-2, Mexico loses the ball right away because we have two strikers and one less midfielder. And we really needed that extra midfielder because at that point, Honduras was throwing in extra bodies into the midfield, going forward, obviously in desperation to try to get the equalizing goal. And that's when Mexico completely lost the ball. And it was basically like that up until like I want to say like the 80th, 75th, 80th minute once Vasco sees that we don't have the ball anymore. So he throws in another midfielder, goes back to a 4-3-3, takes out Raul Jimenez, who was honestly tired. He got his goal. He can't get mad at this time that he got taken out at the 75th minute. He played almost, I think, over 80 minutes. I think he took him out at the 90th minute. And goes back to a 4-3-3. Those last final minutes, I mean, it was just once again scrappy, intense. But Mexico gets over the line. A 1-0 win. I originally predicted a 3-0 win, but it is what it is. Now Mexico will play against the USA in the final. Another Mexico versus USA Gold Cup final. And, I mean, we'll see what happens. The U.S. did not look all that impressive in earlier against Guatemala. Guatemala honestly could have and should have equalized in the dying moments of that game when they scored the 2-1. But I think this is the opportunity for Mexico to really stamp themselves as the kings of CONCACAF once again. I mean, if it was ever in doubt, I know they won the Nations League, but now definitely winning back-to-back continental trophies, it's a must, especially going back-to-back in the Gold Cup as well, and then really just stamping that good moment that Mexico has been progressing towards. With the World Cup just 1 year away, I mean, there's not many games really left. It's just a few friendlies here and there, a few FIFA windows, and see what else maybe Mexico can schedule on those days that there's no FIFA windows. But luckily Vasco took this serious. His staff took this serious. The players definitely took it serious. You can see with the way they play, the heart, the intensity, the passion they play, which is a good thing. They have identity, and that's one of the most important things going into the World Cup that this team needs. Now it's just fixing the little things. Consistency going forward, creating more opportunities. Defensively, that's another thing I wanted to say. We've been impeccable 4 games in a row, just clean sheets all across the board. Malagon, Cesar, Johan. When Cesar was injured, Reyes also playing at right center back. Or no, not Reyes. Edson Alvarez also starting in at right center back. I think Reyes did play one match as right center back. This has easily been one of the best foundations of the national team within the past few years. But even now, up until now, just defensively, the guys are playing with their hearts. They're playing with like Ancelotti says, like Vasco says. Con el cuchillo entre los dientes, with the knife in between their teeth, because they play with so much grit, dedication, focus, complete focus, extremely aggressive. But that's why we haven't gotten scored on the past 4 matches. So defensively, really impeccable work. And I don't mind having to defend for periods of the match. At this point in football, you're going to have to defend. There's no team that's just extreme, that's going to be dominating for 90 minutes. I mean, unless you're PSG versus Inter Milan. But in this version of football, there's going to be moments where you have to suffer. And if there's one good thing about this national team is that in the moments where they have to suffer, they suffer, but just defensively very poised. It's very hard to break through the Mexican national team. It's just going forward. That's where we can do a little better. Obviously, we created a few chances. Raul Jimenez should have at least had a brace. Maybe could have been a more clear victory for the national team, but it is what it is. Now they have the USA next up. We'll see what happens. I'll definitely drop a preview before that. Make sure you guys stay tuned. And make sure you guys stay tuned for after the match as well. On Sunday, we'll be doing a live recording from Cosm as well. If you guys have not checked out Cosm, make sure to check it out because it's exceptional, beautiful 4D shared reality type of sphere bar. Is going to be the first time they're going to be hosting a Gold Cup match, so I'm very excited, and even better that it's going to be USA versus Mexico. So definitely stay tuned for the recap after that match. If you guys want to see more Selección Mexicana content, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out.